Welcome to episode 267 of the 2-1, and today I'm looking at how the Miami Dolphins can build around Tua Tagovailoa heading into the 2021 NFL offseason. We know the Miami Dolphins kind of got gypped out of the playoffs, finishing 10-6, and they didn't make it. Typically in the NFL, any other year you get a 10-6 record, you're in the playoffs, and even this year, the NFL added a 7th seed to the playoffs. Usually it's 6, and they still didn't make it, so it's definitely unfortunate for them, especially when you see a 7-9 Washington football team make it over on the other side of the NFL and the NFC. So definitely a tough loss going into this offseason, but they can't count it as a failure of a season by any means. In my opinion, I'm not sure anyone really thought heading into this season the Dolphins really even be competitive. So for them to finish 10-6 and be even close to the playoffs, still somewhat of a notable acknowledgement for sure. Now there is some question of whether or not they will keep Tua. Will they trade him for Deshaun Watson? Will they draft Justin Fields? Etc., etc. What are they going to do with Tua? As for the sake of this video, I'm going to roll with the assumption that they're keeping Tua as their franchise guy. The Dolphins GM came out and said he will be the starter next season, so that's how I'm going to play it for this video. So, looking at what the Miami Dolphins need, really, Tua needs all his help on offense. The defense is top 5 defense in the league. You don't really even need to touch it. Brian Flores, amazing coaching staff in the head coach. However, offensive coordinator that they had this past season did resign, according to him, but according to the team, he was fired. Doesn't matter what the actual turnout was. The dude's not coming back, so that's really good for the Dolphins because that offensive coordinator is really bad for them. No matter who they replace him with, they could really only go up from here. So, looking at what they got in the draft, they got the number 3 overall pick and the number 3 overall pick they acquired from the Houston Texans for the Laramie Tunsil trade, and their own first round pick in the NFL draft. I believe they're number 18 or so in the draft order right now. So number 3 and 18, great to have 2 picks in the first round. Number 3, like I said, assuming they don't move on from Tua Tagovailoa, they don't draft Justin Fields, Zach Wilson, etc., etc., I could see the Miami Dolphins possibly moving down from the number 3 overall spot. Now, there is a lot of contingencies to happen here. If the Jets decide to roll with Sam Darnold in that number 2, they don't take a quarterback themselves. They take Penei Sewell out of Oregon, the top offensive tackle heading in the draft. That could really affect Miami in their trade bait if another guy was trying to reach or take that offensive tackle. However, if they do take that, then that means another 2 great quarterbacks are still on the board between Zach Wilson and Justin Fields, assuming Trevor Lawrence went number 1 to the Jaguars. So, assuming Zach Wilson and Justin Fields are on the board, or even if the Jets take one of them, assuming one of those 2 guys are on the board, someone might give the Dolphins a phone call and ask to move up so they can get Zach Wilson or Justin Fields and draft their franchise quarterback, whether it be the Falcons, the Panthers, the Vikings, the Lions, the Cowboys. If they don't sign Dak, the Patriots, I don't know. There's a lot of options and a lot of teams that could trade up. The 49ers, if they don't want Garoppolo, they could possibly trade down and get some extra picks for the trade down. I could see them seriously, say the Jets don't like Sam Darnold and they take Justin Fields. I could see Miami trading down, going from number 3 to number 5, who's the Cincinnati Bengals, and the Cincinnati Bengals trading to get up to the number 3 pick so they could lock in Penei Sewell for their offensive line. Do the Miami Dolphins want Penei Sewell? 100%. Tua definitely needs more protection in the pocket. We've seen he is not the greatest under pressure, not that many quarterbacks are. No one likes to be scrambled at and, not have a lot of time in the pocket. But Tua definitely is not great under pressure by any means, so they definitely want to buy him some time. However, if you get the right price from the Cincinnati Bengals or another team to trade down in the draft, they will definitely do it. And I think their eye candy for this draft is not a weapon to protect Tua, but a weapon for Tua to pass to. Yes, such as Devontae Smith, Jamar Chase, or Jalen Waddle. 2 of those guys from Alabama, 1 from LSU, or maybe even a tight end move. Kyle Pitts from Florida Gators. I don't know if he's a wide receiver. I don't know if he's a tight end. He's just a huge weapon for the offense for sure. It's going to be interesting to see what they draft. But really, I think an offensive weapon that Tua can pass to is their main priority. Yes, they have Devontae Parker and Mike Gesicki, 2 great talents for that receiving corps, but they definitely need a little more help. They need to spread out the field a little more, create some more separation, not rely so strongly on just those 2 guys. And Devontae Smith or Jamar Chase are definitely one of the 2 guys that can get them going and make that Dolphins team the next level and give them the chance to make a deep playoff run. Backfield is okay between Myles Gaskins, but really the biggest thing they need to do to build around Tua in this offseason is, my opinion, in the draft, just because they're not going to get Penei Sewell doesn't mean they shouldn't draft a no lineman later in the draft at number 18 or in the second or third round. Or if they decide maybe Penei Sewell's available at number 3, they want to draft him at number 18, pick up Jalen Waddle or any star receiver that's really ready to go. To me, biggest weapons needed in this draft is definitely on the offense. Backfield, you can pretty much leave alone. Miles Gaskins, yeah, there's some upgrades in the draft they can maybe get from him, but the receiving core is the number one priority to me. To me, take Devontae Smith, take Jamar Chase if he's on the board, take Jalen Waddle, take Kyle Pitts, take Penei Sewell. Basically, my overall assumption of how they should build around him is take the best player available. Don't worry if offensively, not obviously a defensive guy, but take the best player available that's on the offense that could take Tua to the next level and give Brian Flores and this new offensive coordinator a great team to work with and take to the playoffs. I think for sure the Dolphins can make the playoffs next year. Yes, the AFC is going to get a little bit tighter, but it's also going to get teams that get a little bit worse. If Philip Rivers retires from the Colts, I don't think they'll be a playoff team. Baltimore Ravens, they're on a hot streak, but the Cleveland Browns, however, they're going to be hit or miss. We're not going to see. We're curious to see how Baker Mayfield will do again. Now that after a year in the playoffs, how will he do the following year? So there are a lot of teams that could stay in it, such as we know the Kansas City Chiefs and Buffalo Bills seem to be locked in the playoffs, but also the Chargers are emerging and becoming a possible playoff team, I think, this next year. So the Dolphins definitely need to step up their A game, continue to build around Tua, and that's going to start with drafting no lineman and receiver in the NFL draft, and then in free agency, see who's on the block, see who's on the trading block, see who's ready to be picked in free agency. Julio Jones might be traded from the Falcons. I know a lot of receivers are going to become free agents, whether it be Will Fuller, Chris Godwin, Juju Smith, lots of options for Miami Dolphins. To me, my overall consensus is if Penei Sewell's taken, go with it. But if you get a trade for him, trade down, take your assets, draft a star receiver, get Devontae Smith, and worry about O-line later. To me, offensive weapons to pass to the number one priority, O-line to protect them, number 2 priority. Yes, that kind of sounds kind of a bold take, but why? Because why wouldn't you want your quarterback protected? But to me, this isn't the Cincinnati Bengals where Tua Tagovailoa is in danger because his O-line isn't protecting him that much. He has some O-line skill. It's just he doesn't have the top tier O-line. And to me, that receivers is definitely more important at this point because we need to see Tua's passing game definitely evolve, and that's not going to happen with just Devontae Parker and Mike Gesicki. So overall consensus, like I said, receivers and O-line and the Miami Dolphins and Tua Tagovailoa are ready to head to the playoffs. Let me know what you think of the video. Let me know in the comments what you think overall and any other videos you want to see. 2-1.